Hey everybody, welcome to the D. Louise book series. I'm Christina, Kristina. Sorry for the horrible visual, horrible audio, everything's horrible. Please stick around, help me out here. So I'm asking and I'm running out of time here. It's obviously not going to happen. I had asked for a Christmas miracle and of 1,000 subscribers. Unfortunately, it does not look like it's going to happen. Those of you who have pages or whatever have influence, spread the word. Try and get a little Christmas miracle here. I've got 140 plus right now, and thank you to all those who have subscribed, but I could use a few more. And if you know that we're doing 30 days of Janet Evanovich for the Christmas season, I've explained that I've had some hard times, and no, come here. Come say hi. Hi, I'm leaving. It's a really hard time for me. Quite a few of my relatives have passed on. So I go to my comfort books, my Janet, my JD Lab, and so that's what we're doing. And I lasted 17 bucks. Here we go. Don't forget the audio. I love Lorelei King. She's the greatest. You gotta go with it. I've lasted 17 bucks, but I finally broke down. Do you know how many calories these are? You know how dangerous these are? But I finally broke down subliminal messages. Ah, crap, I just did it. So, my pals on the floor, just you see. Okay, so, Smokin 17. We've got some issues. We're still in the, I've got to find a better location. We're doing business out of Mooner's van, or RV, should I say, because the bonds office was blown up. Unfortunately, they're finding bodies at the RV. So the first guy they dig up is Louis Dugan. Vinny complains. Lula complains. Mooner says CSI Trenton because they're having the CSI people. Morelli offers dinner. Connie has new two FTAs, Ziggy Glitch and Merlin Brown. They try Ziggy, they get no luck. She goes to her parents for dinner, and her mother's rant. We gotta do her mother's annual rant. We have to. And you know I can't share these books without sharing them with you. And I guess I should say that Stephanie is a bounty hunter. She brings in FTAs. We've got her mom. We've got Grandma Mazur that plays the comedy relief. We've got Morelli, her cop boyfriend, and we've got Ranger, the security guy. Her two love interests in the book. We have Lula, her partner. We have two issues. We have people that have talked about quite a bit. We really don't see them. Terry Gilman, whenever Terry Gilman is mentioned, Stephanie just goes off because she totally believes that Morelli might be doing something with Terry Gilman or Joyce Barnhart. So we've got some situations going on there. We see Mooner again. He's the owner of the RV. He's been around a few times. He's a good guy. So we'll go with it from there. So anyways, she's going to her parents' house, and so why is there ironing going on, Lula asked. We all knew my mother ironed when she was upset. She ironed for days when my divorce went through. Grandma cut a wide swath around my mother and set coffee on the table. Margaret Gooley's daughter got engaged, and they already got the Polish National Hall for November wedding. And, Lula said, I graduated high school with her, I said. Lula sat at the table and cut herself a piece of coffee cake. And my mother pressed the iron into a pair of slacks with enough force to set a steam for the rest of its days. I don't know why everyone else's daughter gets married but mine, she said. Is it too much to ask to have a happily married daughter? I was married, and I didn't like it. Grandma slathered butter on her piece of coffee cake. He was a horse patoot. You've been seeing Joseph Morelli for years now, my mother said. It's the talk of the neighborhood. Why aren't you at least engaged? That was an excellent question, and I didn't have an answer. At least not an answer I wanted to say out loud. Truth is, Morelli wasn't the only man in my life. I was in love with 2 men. How screwed up is that? So they talk about the guys, and then her mother mentions Dave Brewer, and he's going to be an issue. Her mother thinks he's just peachy. What her mother doesn't know. I hear Dave Brewer just moved back to Trenton, my mother said to me. Do you remember Dave? You went to school with him. Dave Brewer had been a big deal football player and entirely out of my league when I was in high school. He went on to college, married, and moved to Atlanta. Last I heard, he was being investigated for illegal foreclosures in the state of Georgia. I thought he was going to jail for swindling people out of their houses, I said to my mother. He beat the rap, Grandma said, but Marion Kowalski said he got fired and he lost his big house in Atlanta, and then his wife left him and took the dog and Mercedes. Dave's mother was at Mass yesterday. She said it was all a mistake, that Dave didn't do anything wrong. And her mother's going to do stuff. So they go back to look for Ziggy, and they get him in a blanket, and they take him to the police station. The next day, they go to the deli for lunch, and Grandma Bella is there, and, we'll get to that. She's got a pimple on her forehead. Then they go after Merlin Brown, sorry. He was naked, and they get into it, and I've got to share the little moments with you. You fat chicks can never shoot worth anything, Brown said. It's one of my observations. Excuse me, Lula said, her eyes narrowed, nostrils flaring. Fat chick? Did you just call me a fat chick? I better have heard wrong because I don't like being called a fat chick. And then Lula got lucky or unlucky, depending on your point of view, and shot Brown's pinky toe off. Not good. Not good, Lula. So they leave. They return to the Bond's office, and they talk about Ranger and Morelli. And so when was the last time you two got busy? A while ago. So why is that? It's complicated, huh? When Lula said, huh, like it indicated total disgust. Okay, I said, it's because I'm confused. I'm having commitment issues. You mean you can't choose between Morelli and Ranger? I'm telling you, girl, you know what you gotta do. You gotta have a bake-off, a throwdown, a love fest. Hell, just ask them if they want to go head-to-head in the sack and see what they say. You'd be doing them a favor on account of you'd be making up your mind. And then, just for the heck of it, maybe you can throw in that guy Dave that your mom likes. I cut my eyes to Lula. You can't be serious. Damn Skippy, I'm serious. Something to consider. So Morelli shows up and he wants to take her to dinner. And when things are revealed, he wants to take her to dinner at his mom's house. It's his uncle's birthday. And she's like, no. So they discuss Louis Dugan some more. She goes to her parents' house. They discover that when she gets there, there's an extra plate. Her mother invited Dave to dinner. Then she takes Grandma to the funeral home. She goes to her apartment. Morelli's there. They have a chat. Then they go to the RV the next day. Morelli is working with Terry Gilman. Like I said, Stephanie's not too pleased with that. Vinny calls. He has a big package that needs to be picked up, and he suggests they drive Mooner's RV to the courthouse to pick up. So Lula says she'll drive the bus. And maybe you should pull over, I said. Lula put the bus in gear, stepped on the gas, and backed into the state CSI truck. Did you just, did you hear something funny just then? She asked. Yeah, I heard the sound of you backing into the crime scene van. It was just a tap. I'll ease forward a little. She changed gears and pulled away from the curb. This thing don't got a lot of get up. The the CSI guys were staring at us, mouths open, eyes wide. I looked in the side mirror and saw they were towing the van. I gotta give it some juice, Lula said. She stomped on the gas and the bus broke loose and jumped forward, leaving the van's bumper in the middle of the road. Maybe you could pull over, I said. No way. I'm getting the hang of it now. Lula cruised down Hamilton and sideswiped a bunch of cars. Holy cow, I said. You just ripped up two more and a mirror. I guess this is wider than I originally thought. No problem. I'll just make a course correction. It's too funny. I wish I could show you my pal here. Um, so he's arrested. This guy was arrested for shooting somebody, and the only collateral he has is his dancing bear, and they put the bear in the RV. So she leaves Lula with the RV, and she's debating on who to call for a ride when she's at the courthouse, and Ranger shows up. He wants her to look over some security systems for him. She tells him she's busy today, but she'll do it tomorrow after 4. He takes her back to the RV, and they talk about Lou Dugan. Morelli is back at the RV. They find another body, Bobby Corelli. Stephanie gets upset because he has to have interactions with Terry Gilman, and Lou Duncan was Terry Gilman's uncle, and that's why she's interacting. But Stephanie's kind of jealous. She sees that Connie and Lula are not in the RVs, so she goes over to the coffee shop. She has new info. Connie has new info on Merlin Brown. They go to see Cracker, his brother, who runs the deli, and they get into it in the deli. And we came in for a hot dog, and I was wondering about Merlin. Cracker laid down a smear of yellow mustard on all the dogs. I could tell you're lying. I know body language, and you're a big fat liar. To begin with, I'm about the best liar you ever saw. If I'm lying, you're not gonna know. And on top of that, did you just call me fat? 'Cause you better not have called me fat, especially since you're a big, ugly tub of lard. That's mean, Cracker said. You can kiss these dogs goodbye. I don't serve dogs to fat, mean old trash. Lula leaned over the counter to get in his face. Fine by me, on account of I don't want your nasty dogs, but I don't put up with no one disrespecting me. Well, yeah, well, kiss my behind. And Cracker mooned her. Lula grabbed the mustard dispenser and blasted Cracker in the ass with a double shot of mustard. Cracker scooped up a handful of chili and threw it at Lula. And after that, it was hard to tell who was throwing what. You gotta love it. So later on, Connie gives Lula money to go buy food for the bear, and they go buy a whole bunch of chicken nuggets. And while they're going to get the chicken nuggets, they run into Merlin Brown, and they try to tackle him, but are unsuccessful. Stephanie goes back to her parents' house, and Dave Brewer is there again. She goes home, falls asleep on the couch. Morelli shows up. The next day, she goes to the coffee shop for Connie and Lula. Connie says Ziggy violated his bond. He attacked Myra Milzer. She's 82 at bingo. And Vinny says Muna took the bear for a walk, and the bear left. So Stephanie goes to the owner of the bear, and they work stuff out. Then Mama Bella comes into the coffee shop where they're hanging out and puts the vordo curse on Steph. So Lula and Stephanie go after Ziggy. The neighbor says he left in the middle of the night. They decide to change the office locations and use Stephanie's apartment as the office. And then they decide to go after Merlin. They're unsuccessful. And Stephanie has a little me moment. And we've all had these me moments Um, uh, it is just pouring rain today. It is just pouring rain. Um, so, shoot. Are you enjoying these books? Do you like these books as much as I do? I hope you're liking these books as much as I don't know where. I don't have a. Uh, I had to change locations. We washed carpet today. All the boxes went steady. What can I tell you? Why you seem flat enough? Why aren't you staying? Ah, there we go. We need another box. This better. So Stephanie's having a time, and I was going to save this for later, but I'll show it to you now. The book has stickers, and there was this thing a while ago. What team are you on? Are you on Morelli? Or are you on the Ranger team? It gets curious, but so Stephanie's having a moment. I feel like my life isn't going anywhere, and I did another side. Lula drained her Slippy. Why do you gotta be going somewhere? Seems like it should be enough that we had nachos, and we got meaningful jobs. We catch bad guys. If it wasn't for us, there'd be vampires and all kinds of shit running around loose. Actually, the vampire is still at large. Yeah, but we're thinking about catching him. And what about my relationships? Here we are back to the relationships, Lula said. I knew it was gonna come to this. Your whole problem is you turned yourself into a glasses half empty person. You got two hot men on the line and you look at it like a bad thing. But I see it like hitting the jackpot. You probably even have three hot men if you put an effort into Dave, what's his name. I looked down at my jeans. I still couldn't button them. And on top of everything else, I'm getting fat. That's not your fault. You put the hex on you. Bella gave you the boils and all. Now you have the vordo. I put my phone to my ear and called Connie. Have you a chance to find out about vordo? No, but I'll ask around. Vordo. Stephanie's led to believe that vordo makes you horny. So that's her excuse. Um, So she goes back to her apartment, and Connie is working there with Mooner. Vinny's on the couch. Vinny's using her cable, and she kicks him out. She goes to Ranger to view the security system, and her and Ranger had a evening, an interesting evening, and Connie calls her. And now she has an excuse, you see. It wasn't her fault. The phone rang a second time, and I wiggled out of arms, picked his t-shirt off the floor, dropped it over my head, and went to the dining room to get my phone. The message was from Connie telling me to call her back. I touched the redial and looked down at Ranger's shirt. It was still smelled like him, and it was triggering little stabs of desire that mingled awkwardly with cobs of guilt. Morelli and I had a no-commitment agreement, but that didn't stop me from feeling guilty. I found out about the vordo, Connie said. My Aunt Pauline came to visit my mother, and she knew all about it. It's one of those old country curses. It's supposed to make you horny. If you've got a vendetta against going against your neighbor. You put vordo on her daughter and she turns into a slut. Well, now Stephanie knows why she's had the night with Ranger. Another body shows up next to the Bond's office. Stephanie, they see the killer wearing a mask, and she says it looks familiar to her. She goes to her apartment. There's a bag with a note from Dave. Looking forward to seeing you wearing this. She takes the bag out to the dumpster and throws it up. She goes back to the Barnes office. There's another dead person. She talks to Morelli. Then they go to the store because she's decided the only way to stop her urges is granny panties. They try and go get Morelli again. He's naked. They leave. And after that incident, they go get some donuts. I have sinned. The calories in here are unbelievable. And she's going off again. I'm going to make her part of my videos. I swear. Dave texts her. She says he's turning into a stalker. He won't leave her alone. The guy with the bear, she decides there's something wrong with it. She goes to investigate. Then she sees Jimmy Alpha, and Jimmy Alpha is deceased, but she says the guy looks really like him. She goes to the bar. She calls Morelli, tells him about the Jimmy Alpha sighting and about the stuff at the bar not adding up. Morelli looks into it. It turns out that Jimmy Alpha had a brother who looked like him. So she goes back to her apartment, and Dave is there making dinner. He makes dinner and leaves. She gives Stephanie a new FTA, and they actually take her down. And then they go see Merlin, and one thing leads to another, and they are successful. Why did I want to share this? He goes to rob the liquor store. They had stopped and they bought a $3 bottle of wine, and one thing leads to another, and they actually get him, which is good. So everybody's eating dinner. They talk about Ranger and Joe. Then they decide, well, there's no dessert, so we got to go to Cluck and Bucket and get some ice cream. So they do that. But Ranger calls, and he spoke to the officer about the guy with the bear case, and the case has been dismissed. He also tells her that Jimmy Alpha's brother just got out of jail, and he looks a lot like Jimmy Alpha. That's what's going on there. Things get worse. The stalker keeps killing. The killing keeps happening. Dave keeps stalking her. Vinny wants them to put up ads, so they put up ads. It boosts business. Ranger sees the ads, and she has an incident with Ranger in the vehicle. It's you gotta read it. When he takes her back to the after they have their little incident in the car, by the way, because she decided it was a challenge if she could do it, and she did do it. And I checked out the logistics of playing hide the salami in a sports car. Ranger was right. This wouldn't be easy. If I crawled over him, there would be no room for my leg. His door was too close. There was only one way I could see managing this. I got out, ran around the car, opened the door, and straddled him with one leg outside and 1 foot on the console. And as they did, it was beep, beep, beep. You gotta read it. Ranger turned on to Clinton. I'd still like you to look at the security system on the account. Sure, I can do it now if it works for you. They go in, and he tells her to pick a car. She says, that's nice of you, but it's not necessary to loan me a car. I loan you cars all the time, and I almost always destroy them or lose them. I have terrible luck with cars. Working at Rangeman is a high-stress job, and you're one of our few sources of comic relief. I give you a car and my men start a pool on how long it will take you to trash it. Your line item in my budget under entertainment. And it's just, you gotta. And I've got this thing. When you don't know what to say or you want the person to fill in their own thoughts, it's just, and you can fill in the blank however you want to end that sentence. So she gets back to her apartment and Dave is there and he's cooking a meal, and then Joe shows up and they get rid of Dave, but then he has to leave for a poker game. Her mother calls her, and there are a couple of forms of entertainment in the burg: the beauty salon, the bakery, the deli, and the funeral home. Those are the main sources of gossip, and the telephone tree. Let's see. I just got a call from Emma Brewer, my mother said. She's so excited about you and Dave. Emma, his mother. She said you've been seeing each other. I let him use my kitchen 2 days in a row. Did he make you lamb chops? Emma says his specialty is lamb chops. Yeah, he makes great lamb chops. Morelli was here and he loved them. You let Joseph Morelli interfere with your date? It wasn't a date. Stephanie, you have a chance with this nice young man. You should get your hair done, get a manicure. I think he's interested. It's going nowhere with Morelli. You never get him to marry you. I thought it would be nice if I invited Brewers to dinner. You and Dave and Emma and Herb. No, don't do that. Her mother's trying. Her mother's trying to set her up. It's just not gonna work. There's another dead man, and there's a note on the dead man that says for Stephanie. Then Ranger gives her a Shelby. It doesn't last very long. So you really have to check it out. There's a couple of different mysteries here. Who the stalker, we know Dave is her stalker, but who is killing the individuals related to Lou Dugan, and how Stephanie is trying to get Alpha off the streets. That's not working too well. And what happens with Dave. It's all very interesting. It's all related. And it's a really good story. I enjoyed it very much. If you want to even enjoy it more, check out the audio with Lorelei King. It's so good. And if you cannot restrain yourself, have a Krispy Kreme. Because like I've said before, when I see Janet, I think donuts, Krispy Kreme, Cluck in the Bucket. When I see Krispy Kreme on the street or Dunkin' Donuts, I think of Janet. They're all related. And we're doing 30 Days of Janet. I've got my Janets behind me. I've got them all. We're going to be going to Explosive 18 next. Look forward to that. And what does it say? Oh, it's got stickers I'll be showing at the next viewing. So, at the end of the book, there's Morelli and I love Morelli, I love Ranger. There are two camps that want both. At the end of the book, we get a little bit of a cliffhanger. They open the envelope that Dave had with him when he was with her. Girl, you could use those gift cards. You could go on a vacation with the man of your dreams if only you knew who that was. And she decides to go on a vacation, Hawaii, I believe, and we're not told who she decided to go with. So we're gonna have to wait till 18 to find out who she decided to go with. But definitely check these out. Smokin 17, and I hope my neighborhood's not flooded. We're having a little bit of a storm here. There was something else I wanted to say, I can't remember. But just, I hope you are enjoying these with me. I'm trying to stay positive this month. It's kind of hard with all the dead relatives. I'm just trying here. I would put the lights on, but then they shine so brightly you can't see them. But these are all my Janets, all 29 of them. The 30th is under the tree. We'll be opening that Christmas. So we're reading all the Janets up to Dirty 30. That's what we're going to end with, Dirty 30. Spoiler, she doesn't. We're going to get some more interesting people. Showing up the wrong book. See, I've lost my mind. Here we go. Janet Evanovich, Smokin 17, Stephanie Plum, and Lula. They actually do some good stuff. They actually catch some people. So I hope you enjoyed it. And before my battery runs out, hope you can help me. Don't forget, I'm not going to do Flashback Monday this week. I just can't get to my books, and it's too much. No one's watching. That's the biggest deal. And don't forget Star Trek, Next Generation. We're doing First Contact, and we'll talk about what I thought it was and what it really was during the vid. So have a good one.